What we're going to do here is a quick mind map of some of the different things that we've studied throughout right angle triangles. I'm going to aim to do this in just 3 or 4 minutes. So for our right angle triangles topic, right angle triangles, the first thing you'll remember that we did was we studied Pythagoras. And Pythagoras allows us to find the length of triangles, or the side lengths of triangles, when we know any two. Pythagoras, the rule of Pythagoras, says that a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. And you can use that to calculate the side lengths in a right angle triangle. The second thing we looked at was trigonometry. Now in trigonometry, we've got our ratios, and you'll remember that we remember our ratios by SOHCAHTOA, and the sine of an angle is equal to the opposite side over the hypotenuse. The cosine ratio allows us to find that the cosine of an angle is equal to the adjacent side over the hypotenuse, and the tangent ratio tells us that the opposite side, or over the tangent ratio, is the opposite side over the adjacent. And you'll remember from our triangles that when we have a right angle triangle and we've got an angle there, that the hypotenuse is the top side, the opposite side is the side opposite the angle, and the adjacent side is the side next to the angle. Adjacent means next to. You'll also remember that our inverse ratios allow us to find the angle theta. So those are where we've got sine to the minus 1. And so we can work out the opposite over the hypotenuse being equal to theta. And so our inverse ratios can be used to find the angle. And they're the same ratios here, but instead of using the sine button, you'd use shift sign and get the inverse ratio. Alright, so we've got Pythagoras Theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The trigonometric ratios, SOHCAHTOA allows us to remember that. The other things that we learned here were a couple of terms. We learned about angles of elevation and angles of depression. Okay, so our angle of elevation is an angle from the horizontal going up, and an angle of depression is from the horizontal going down. We also learnt about bearings. So bearings are compass points, and so compass points on a compass, we can remember that they're measured from north. From north in a clockwise direction. So when we have a bearing of 180 degrees, we'd start at north, measure 180 degrees in a clockwise direction, and that would end up heading directly south. So right angle triangles. We've got Pythagoras Theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We've got trigonometric ratios. Remember SOHCAHTOA, which gives us our ratios of side lengths over each other. We can use the inverse ratios to be able to work out the angles when we're given the side lengths. And we can use bearings to measure distances on a compass. We've got our angle of elevation, which would be looking up at a balloon or up at a plane or up at a bird, and our angle of depression, which would be when we're standing high looking down on something.